Hey, it's Bryan.
Hey, it's Barry.
And welcome to another episode of the Collecti-Bros podcast. On this episode, we're going to be discussing video games that are based off of books, whether it be literature, novels, maybe some comic books, maybe some tabletop books. We'll see how that goes. Depends if we run out of shit to talk about. All honestly, though, I decided to go with this episode because in the past we did one about movies, and it's kind of an interesting thing. There's not a ton off the top of my head that I was thinking about, like, hey, is there video games based off of novels? Like, you don't see Moby Dick games and shit. But I stumbled across a YouTube video, and there was it was a list, of course, we're talking about YouTube. There was a couple I didn't know were based off of books, and I kind of fell down a little mini rabbit hole, so it was pretty interesting to me. Yeah, found out Stalker was based on a book, and I was like, holy shit, I feel like an idiot, I didn't know this. So that's kind of what started this whole idea for this episode. Hey guys, before we talk about what we actually play, please check us out on all social media at Collecti-Bros Pod, everywhere, and like and subscribe on YouTube. It helps out a lot. Thank you. Short and sweet. How's that?
Check out the Discord. Thanks.
Yeah, Discord's awesome too if you guys want to talk to us directly. We're on there a lot. We show all of our pickups, not just a couple that we gloss over during the show, so be sure to check that out. Speaking of plays and pickups, what have you been playing? What'd you pick up?
Oh, am I going first?
No, why not? You want me to go first? Actually, I probably should for the flow, huh?
Yeah.
This is straight water. I'm going to throw that out there too. There is no caffeine in this water. But yeah, first pickups, I actually got something really cool. I had a teammate from work. She ended up going to Japan and South Korea, and she ended up picking up some games for me. I didn't want to like ruin her vacation, but she was like, hey, I know you're into games. If you want me to look for anything specific, give me a little list. And I was like, all right, so should I just fully unload and be like, here's a stack? Because I could have easily done it, but I try to be respectable. I know she was going on vacation, so I'm like, I'll just send her a couple Xbox things. There ain't going to be shit for Xbox in Japan and Korea anyway.
It's funny because, like, if either of us were, like, going to go on vacation, that would not apply.
Oh, brother, you would have got the size of that Mega Gundam list. Like, yeah. I was trying to be respectable. And plus, like, she's very casual games. She'll be like, oh, I'll play Call of Duty every once in a while or whatever. Yeah. Like, one of those. So I wasn't going to be like, all right, I need this specific SKU with this bark. Like, I wasn't going to go that deep. So I gave her a tiny list. But she ended up picking up a nice little stack for me, about 8-9 games. Put those into Discord, but the one I do want to highlight because it's one of my favorite games of all time, if you listen to our last episode, you know this, Mass Effect. I got a South Korean version of Mass Effect, and the box art's really cool because it's all in a different language. The art's exactly the same, but it's really clean too. It looks actually really cool, and I love it, man. It's awesome. I actually did throw it in the Xbox One Series X because it's region free, and I was like, let's see if it like works, and it does. So that's awesome. And also it has the Bring Down the Sky DLC on disc, which is interesting because it started installing that. And I was like, the hell? Like that's new, but pretty cool. There's a couple other gems in there as well. Check out the Discord if you want to see them.
Is that DLC in the Legendary?
It's not, because that's the one
edition?
That they lost the code for, which sucks because that DLC was actually really cool. It's the one where the Batarians like hijack the space station. They're going to slam it kind of like Gundam style. That one was really fun. Damn, I kind of want to go back and play that shit now.
Right, because that's like, aren't you on like trial at Mass Effect 3 for doing that?
Yeah, they bring it up if you made the decision to not stop them or... Okay,
I couldn't remember exactly because I've only played that one, 2 times.
They do bring it up, you're right.
But I'm trying to remember, like, that was part... And then Mass Effect 2 had a DLC where it was... Whatever you did in that one was specific to what happened in the beginning of Mass Effect 3. It changes
your relationship with the Batarians because like everybody hates them anyway because they're just basically space pirates and shit. But I really liked that DLC actually. Like the actual gameplay was kind of just like big warehouses as you clear out, but the story was really cool and engaging in that one. Flashbacks of Gundam smashing colonies on the planets and shit. Yeah, super excited to get that. It's a not one I necessarily thought I'd ever have for my collection. Didn't really know it was a thing, to be honest with you. Like, I know there's different regions. You always see Japan ones, you see PAL ones, but like specifically South Korean, pretty cool. Didn't know it was a thing. Interesting side note, she said when she was in Japan, I got one Japanese game. I got Oblivion Japanese. I tried to give her a little crash course education. I was looking for the Great Game of the Year one because that one has a separate achievements list. And it is, region free on Series X, so you can put it in your Series X and play that achievement list also. But, I'm not going to hold it against her. She's not a nerd, bro. She's very normal. So she was like, oh, it's got you Oblivion. I was like, thanks, man. It's still cool. Like, You know, if it's a variant like that, if a series I collect, I ain't mad. Like, it's very cool. She said there was no Xbox stuff in Japan, which I'm not shocked at all.
No,
that's
not
why
shocking.
I was like, here, look for these if you see
The
anything.
fact that she found anything was surprising.
The flip side, though, she said South Korea absolutely loaded with Xbox stuff. There was way more Xbox than even PlayStation and Nintendo, she said, which was like surprising. I just thought that was pretty funny. I also ended up getting limited run, finally, sent me my Persona 4 Gold Collector's Edition, and that thing is like a giant loaded box full of really cool shit. Series I've never really played. It's got a little like metal figurine. It's got like the glasses from the game, like a display case. It's got a bunch of cool stuff. Physical soundtrack, always huge plus on that. It's got trading cards, a steel book. Like it's huge. It's not as cool as the 3 with like the quote activator, but it's still pretty sick, man. Pretty nice little collection. Comes in the big like tube TV box. It's a pretty sweet little collection. And then finally, the last thing I did pick up, which I have not played yet, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I do enjoy these kind of games with the asymmetric horror, you know, Evil Dead or Dying Light, but Killer Clowns was like a really funny one to me that they would actually make a game after all these years of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It was dirt cheap. It was like $10. That's one I'd been wanting to play. A couple of guys on my friends list were like, hey, do you have any interest in playing this? Because I found it for $10. I was like, yeah, dude, like, let me get that all day. So we'll probably check that out here soon. I'm a fan of the movie. Never played the game. It is funny, like, this developer's bread and butter at this point is literally just grabbing, like, obscure 80s horror franchises and making asymmetric horror games out of it. There's a market for it, I guess, to keep making them. So Killer Clowns would not be one on my top of my bingo card if I was the developer, though. So, like, kudos to them for figuring that mess out. What about you? What'd you pick up?
I haven't really bought anything, so the last thing that I've picked up was... I have all of the Fire Emblem games for North America, so I'm working on getting on the Japan exclusive ones. So I picked up Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War, which is allotted to be one of the best ones.
Sick.
It's the 4th game in the series, and it came out in 1996 for the Super Famicom.
That's awesome.
To start backfilling the Fire Emblem collection. Because, like, I don't know... We got Shadow Dragon remake on the DS at one point, and then they re-released the Nintendo one in that big, like, 25th anniversary thing.
The glass cart?
Yeah, the glass cart.
It's like the only one I've played from classic Fire Emblem.
So there's a bunch of other Fire Emblem games that I'm not confident we're going to get re-releases for. This one is not one that I don't think we'll ever get. And Thracia, I don't think we'll get that one. That's the one that's uber expensive, the like $400 Fire Emblem game.
Oh, shit, I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah, the one that I was telling you about, where you could take those little flash cartridges to the game stores and they could load the games on there, and then it was like a digital release only originally. Yeah. And so in order to play the game, like, you had to go to the store. You had to go to a game store, and they would load the digital file, like, flash onto a Super Famicom cart. And then eventually they were like, okay, let's print, like, official ones. And I guess the print was super low on them. And they have a super big special edition, too, for it, which is also really rare. So
that shit has so much things going against it, from like, oh, I can afford this.
Yeah, so that's one that is going to be difficult to grab because it's, you know, and even the non-official like flash cart ones are like $80 to $100.
Damn.
And sometimes you can get lucky and get the little box that the carts would come in originally. People have them, but even just the carts, they're like $80 if it has the game on it. Because sometimes they would sell them like that too, and they'd put the little labels. So it'd have like the little Fire Emblem label on it and stuff.
Huh.
So I'm just on a quest to pick up the Fire Emblem games that I don't have, because I can just, you know, there's fan translation packs that I can download and use in a Retron. Right. So that's the route I'm going.
It's kind of a shame. I wish Nintendo would kind of do like a compilation translate on like one cart. That would be awesome, but you know, that would require...
That would be a lot of translation work. I don't know if they want to do it. I think it got re-released on the Nintendo Online service, but in Japan. As far as like an official North American like port release, I don't know. There's just some that I don't think we're going to get. Like Roy from Smash, he's not in any of the North American games, but he's in Smash because it's popular in Japan. And I don't think we're going to get that one in North America because he's not a popular Fire Emblem character in the West.
See, like, that's the kind of shit you think Nintendo would remake. Like I'm talking straight remake, not Paper Mario. It came out 20 fucking years ago, where it's like we already have it. Like remake something like that.
Yeah, but you're also like we're in a bubble. Mario is a global phenomenon that makes them money. Yeah. Some Fire Emblem game. Like I feel like they're more inclined to do that now with the success of Awakening and the Three Houses, like how popular Fire Emblem is now. But I am not convinced that they would remake a game rather than just making a new one at this point.
That's Nintendo's MO is like they remake one, then they make a new one to gauge interest, and depending on how that remake goes, I don't see it happening with Fire Emblem franchises.
And I was really hoping that we were going to get. I was hoping that we were going to get a Fire Emblem like announcement with the Switch 2. Yeah. But we got fucking Donkey Kong, and that was it. So like, Nintendo can eat my ass right now. You know, no big deal. So that's all I picked up.
Well, as far as playing,
what have you been playing? I know what you've been playing. It's seen on the thing all the time.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Your Discord status constantly. It just says Power Wash Simulator.
Say I might have a new addiction, but first I want to highlight a really cool achievement of mine. So y'all know I've been playing Black Desert for years, right? They recently announced that they are closing the servers for the PS4 and the Xbox One version of Black Desert. And I was like, oh god, that's terrifying. I've put so much time in this. Like, fuck. I was super high in the world of fishing at one point. And then they said, oh yeah, we're going to let you carry everything over to the PS5 Series X version that we're making. And I was like, cool, perfect. I don't know what that means for achievements though. Because some games, like Hunt Showdown's a perfect example. It works on a Series X, on a PS5, whatever. It's backwards compatible. Makes sense. But when they release a new version, it carries your data and it's a completely new list of achievements or trophies, whatever have you. Sometimes it carries over, sometimes it doesn't. So I was like, I ain't risking it. Like, let me try to just get all these achievements. I had like 7 left, I think. And it was like, basically life experience ranking. So like I was super high up there in fishing. The fishing one's notoriously difficult. Like the hardest achievement in the game. Time consuming. I was like 8th in the world in Xbox at one point and I didn't have this achievement. That's how much XP you need to fish to get this achievement. I ended up getting it. It was pretty sick.
You were AFKing for a while.
That's the thing. Like I used to always actually fish. Every once in a while I'd AFK fish just to get like, you know, harvesting parts or whatever. But good God, dude, I put in the Lord's work to do this game because I did not want to risk spending 150 plus hours on it and just be like, oh, you're 1 achievement short. So I got the processing achievement. I got the horse training achievement. And they actually did turn on like XP boosters on a couple of the servers to like help people out, which was pretty cool of them. I finally got the 1,000 gamer score in Black Desert on the line. And that was, I think I had like 200 hours total, 250 hours, something crazy like that. If there is, even if there's not, I'll still play it on the new versions. It's a fun game. I like that game a lot. I put enough time into it. You know, it's something that I will revisit on the next gen SKUs. Hopefully they do full crossplay and fix all that bullshit.
Hopefully they don't count your achievement progress.
I hope it's a new list. Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it again. Fuck it.
So I can play from the bottom and not be like, oh, what do I do? What's going on?
So they also said the biggest issue with the console ports was like it was 4 months behind the PC version. So every new character, they would just be like, oh, what the fuck? Like this, the new characters are always broken, spoiler. And then they started doing season characters like Diablo, so it wasn't that big of a deal for people to start a new character, but I don't like doing the season stuff. Like I like investing all the time into one character. If I don't like it, I can make multiple characters.
Or just let you have multiple characters on one account.
Right, which is what they do now.
Not creating a new character and having to go from the bottom up on the story again. Yeah. Like, swap jobs like Final Fantasy does. We already do it in other games. You say, oh, I want to play a different class, bloop, bloop, and then you just switch, and all of your progression's the same. You're just playing a different play style.
See, the problem is...
Are the characters, do they have, like, character-specific stories?
Right. Yeah, you're doing the same thing. And
it's the same thing?
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
The problem is that makes a lot of sense, so we can't have that. No, we gotta fucking make things more overly difficult than it ever needs to be. The idea with the next-gen console versions is to have it identical with PC, which I'm like, about fucking time. I want to play the fucking cowboy with the guns, goddammit. Like, he was awesome. That was really exciting for me. I'm closing in on 1 million gamer score, about 15,000 away.
Have you decided what your game's gonna be?
I have not, and I've put a lot of thought into it. I do want to play something with Nate, you know, something co-op. That's all I know for sure. Because, like, that's what we used to do. Like, we started, it was like, hey, Gears of War split screen co-op, Halo split screen. Maybe going through all the Halos and, like, Legendary for the Master Chief Collection, like, split screen.
Have you not done
online.
Those yet?
I think we did 1 and 2, maybe. So I think we got to do 3 and 4, and then Reach. Doing something co-op, like, split screen. Like, fuck being online. No.
Yeah.
Like, split screen, bro, would be awesome. So I gotta think a little bit, but we're getting there. Like I'm trying to think of a good one, or just something horribly shitty, Jumper, something like that. But
Lord,
it would be appropriate.
No, I think doing a co-op game with him too would be cool to have like that moment.
Yeah, full circle. How many years we've been doing this shit, and we finally hit 1 million.
Yeah.
And keep going from there because I ain't stopping. I'm addicted. Speaking of addicted,
why don't you? Well, I was gonna say you guys could do the Doom Dark Ages.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think it's co-op.
No, it's single player, but it'd be a good one.
I was trying to think of like games that you guys play.
They have like one of the original Doom ports. I think it's the one that came out with like Doom and Doom 2. I think
Doom 2.
Yeah, split
screen. Doom 2 because I got that one because we were gonna play it, but it's not split screen.
The newest one, the one that's.
I just know that they put Doom 2 on Xbox, and I wanted to play it, and it was like, yeah, we can do it split screen, and when we went to try it, it's only multiplayer, not couch co-op.
Was it the 360 or the one version?
The one version.
Okay, so it was the one that came out before, I think. Because there's 3 different fucking versions of Doom 2 on fucking consoles. It's ridiculous. The one that Limited Run just announced for like the $666 one.
Oh god.
That new version, that one digitally is split screen. I'm pretty sure. So maybe that'd be a good one though, doing Doom like all timer. But yeah, we'll think of something nice to do. Yeah, speaking of that's just. I want one so bad, but fuck you. I'm not paying that, bro. I'm not doing it.
We'll save it for another episode later this year.
Might have to change my thoughts and feelings after this.
Yeah, I don't know, because we wanted to do an episode on limited run games this year. Bryan wanted to. I couldn't give a singular shit about limited run games, to be honest. And like, especially after this, like, I'm over them. I'm so done buying from them. The vision of that company is gone. We were talking about it in the car. They're just a distributor now.
Yeah.
You guys are limited run games that I can go buy at Walmart. I can go buy at Amazon. Yeah. Like, what happens to all the digital games that are on, like, Steam that we wanted to have physical and, like, bringing that to a physical market, like a truly physical market? And now we're just doing, we have a special lenticular cover for Soul Reaver.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I'll say my thoughts and feelings, but maybe it's probably changed since I originally put it on the calendar for the episode.
If you're not plugged in, Limited Run put out a collector. They're doing a limited run for Doom and Doom 2. Mm-hmm. And they are doing just a normal game.
Yep.
They're doing a special
deluxe big box
edition, mm-hmm. And then they're doing what did they call it? Plays on everything.
Does it run Doom or some kind of shit?
Will it play or something like Doom? That?
Yeah.
It's like Will It Play edition, and the box that it comes with itself independently plays Doom. There's a little a demon head thing. What are those things called?
Cacodemon.
The Cacodemon. There's a Cacodemon like Tamagotchi that plays Doom.
Will It Run It edition.
Will It Run It? And there's only 666 copies
of every SKU.
Of each SKU.
Not each SKU, total.
Of every SKU? So are they doing 222 of each?
Yeah, okay. Which is fucking ridiculous,
so 666 total.
It's a numbered release also. I want to throw that out there.
It's a numbered release.
Numbered release, and there's only 222. Like, fuck.
So is that numbered release separate from the standard? Is that like 8?
No. It's the same, but it's the edition of the standard.
Okay.
It's just ridiculous.
So it's the same number on all the editions, though. Okay. Yes. I was about to be like, that's some dumb bullshit if they're gonna make it number 843 and then 844. But there's 666 copies of this flat. There's no purchase limit. And they're charging $666.66 per fucking game.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I thought it was the bundle. I thought it was like, how they do all 3 SKUs or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's, $200. Like, that's cool. And I went to go select the Xbox version. And I was like, it's not changing price. It's got to be a glitch. What the fuck? And then I saw on social media people were going the fuck off. And I was like,
the most price gouging bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
Everyone's like, you're about a week late for April Fools. Crazy, dude.
And here's the thing, it's gonna sell out.
Yeah,
it's gonna sell out.
It's only 666. Of course it is. 222 each. Like,
because some of you people out there have no spine, and will let them do whatever the fuck they want.
I'm just saying,
Jesus.
If I could get one of these, I probably would. But I ain't gonna get one. I'm not paying $600 for it. It's crazy. That's more than a Switch. Switch 2.
Is this whole thing a PC? Is this a PC?
It's probably just a fucking Raspberry Pi. You can go get one for $30 at
I was
fucking
thinking the
wherever.
Same thing.
It's probably a Raspberry Pi with a shitty LCD screen. It's probably $200 worth of materials.
That's not even that. Yeah. It's probably not even that.
I'm talking like everything, manufacturing the Cacodemon and all that. I'm talking everything.
Yeah, that's not even $200.
Nothing.
No.
Get the fuck out of here. It's crazy. It is so cool though. God damn, it's such a cool looking box.
That's
but fuck them. That's crazy.
Absolutely insane. So like after this move, like limited run, I'm not buying shit from you anymore. I don't care what you would release. I canceled my Soul Reaver pre-order.
Yeah.
I actually got an email that said my front mission was shipping, but I already bought it and I couldn't cancel it at that point. But like fuck you, I'm not doing it anymore. I'll buy it secondhand from some dude on the internet.
I still buy a ton of shit from them, but this one it stings a little bit, especially because it is something I adore. You know, I literally grab every SKU of. Like,
what's that other company?
Strictly Limited.
Yeah, I'm about to go check them out. Like, fuck you, Limited Run.
They got some decent shit, and they do more of what Limited Run used to do, where it's
rocks.
like digital version of a game. Let's put it on a disc. Yep. But I'll save my thoughts and feelings for.
We've been talking quite a long time about this. Yeah. So.
But another game I'm playing, addicted to.
You better make it quick.
I will. Power Wash Simulator, bro. I am like all the fuck in.
Because I had no time to talk about none of my shit.
Oh, yeah, talk to you shit.
Yeah, thanks.
Run shit out.
No, it's here to stay now. I just don't get to talk this time. Thanks.
I'm totally addicted to Power Wash Simulator. Like, I literally started playing it because I was playing a frustrating like Super Meat Boy clone. I got the achievements on that, and I was like, "What's the most chill game out there?" Power Wash Simulator. I'm all in, brother. I'll be playing it. I'll lose time, and it'll be like, "Oh shit, it's 3:00 in the morning. What the fuck?" Because I need perfect lines. Like, it's bad. I love it though. I'm all in. I bought all the DLC. I'm going for it. What have you been playing?
Avowed. Would recommend.
Oh yeah, dude. Damn. Man,
all I gotta say is I played Avowed. I would recommend the game, but I would not play it again. If you want to see further thoughts, visit the Discord. Secondly, I'm playing Dragon Age Veilguard. I have not a lot of opinions about it so far because I'm not very far in, other than it's confusing as fuck. It's not Dragon Age. Even though there's Darkspawn and Morrigan, like, I'm sorry, it's not Dragon Age game. And they should just shutter BioWare and reopen it as a new studio. That's all. That's all I got time for.
You can go a little bit. We got time.
No.
It's ridiculous. We went off on a tangent, bro. You went off on a tangent.
And that's all we have time for.
Somebody had pickups to talk about. Just talking shit. Let's focus here. Books, novels, whatever you want to call it. Observation. I think this is a really interesting talking point that been around longer than any sort of media, right? I think the oldest shit you can find, writing's been hands down the oldest, right? There's no debate about that. I think it's super interesting. There's like hardly any video games based on movies for the amount of time. Based on books, writing, whatever you want to call it. The amount of time the art's been around. Like movies, it's a dime a dozen. I think it's easier to borrow from that because there's already a visual medium. But it's weird for books. My opinion, the type of people that like read books and like reading is their main hobby. I'm not saying there aren't people who play games and read books. There clearly fucking is. I live with her, Sherry. She does both. But people like hold, I think because it is such a personal like grasp on the medium. It's not like a movie where everybody sees the same thing or games everybody's playing similar things. It's like your world you're creating in your mind while you're reading it. I think sometimes that doesn't translate 1-to-1 100%. So like example, if you have a book you're super passionate about and you're reading it and you're like, this is what this looks like in my head, these characters, a setting, and then someone else makes a game based on it and they have a completely different vision. People get way more passionate about like, they fucked this up completely more than they do about movies and games.
Look at how many versions of Pride and Prejudice we have.
Yeah. That's a good example.
In the discourse of Pride and Prejudice versus the book versus the TV show versus the movie.
Right, and it makes me think how many people are able to like, that's not what it looks like. I'm going to do my own fucking version like of a movie or whatever. Yeah. It's probably a million times worse with games because similar to books, it's like it's your journey, it's your story, even more so because you're controlling the shit, you know? So that's just an interesting observation I had about this whole topic in general. It's like there's maybe, and if you take like games based off movies that are based off of books, this list is even shorter, bro. There's just a small handful of like, actually straight up novel adaptations of it. We picked the rights up for and made a game. But my thoughts are that's probably the reason why. Do you have any thoughts? Like maybe it's just unexplored media or what?
Thoughts on what? Like
why there's not as many adaptations from novels into games in general as compared to like movies or...
I'm not a licensing expert, so who's to say?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I think that there's not a lot because people are so concerned with nostalgia at this point. That
sells.
They want what sells, and they're not going to try new stuff. That's all these games that we're going to really talk about have came out 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not anything that we're doing anytime now. They've given up on the idea that anybody wants anything new because we want shit from 20 years ago. So that's why we're getting remasters.
You're not wrong at all, dude.
I mean, like, anytime anything new comes out, it's either based on something else or it's just a remaster. Like, sure, okay, let's just talk about Avowed that came out. Oh, yeah, cool, it's a new IP. It's not, man. It's from Pillars of Eternity.
Pillars of Eternity, yeah.
So it's not its own independent thing anymore. Mm-hmm. It's not a new IP. Like, we don't have a truly new IP. The last new IP that came out, people dunked on it bad. I'm trying to
think of the last one that worked. Like,
the last one that worked, I'd have to sit here and think for a second. But
been a lot of
what
failures.
was that Immortals of Avium game?
Yeah.
That one got fucking dunked on. Yep. I never played it. I don't know if it was good or not, but like people just they don't want new IPs. This new IP that Naughty Dog is putting out, people already don't fucking want it. They're like, what about Last of Us 3? I don't care.
Yeah.
Let it die.
Just release it again.
You guys are just sucking the lifeblood out of these games. We got Last of Us fucking collection again. We got a remaster of a port.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, excuse me. A re-release of a remaster of a port of a game.
My head.
Okay? Like, why are we still talking about Last of Us Part 2, Part 3? Let it go. Naughty Dog can make new things.
I think you hit the nail on the head, though. Like, they have the unrealistic expectations for sales. Like, a game's deemed like Dragon Age sold a shitload and it's still a failure.
It didn't sell a shitload.
It sold enough. It sold a couple million the first week.
It was like 1.5.
Oh, I thought it was more than that. Jesus.
No.
Oh, fuck. Never mind.
Why do you think it was already on PlayStation Plus for free?
Jesus.
They needed to recoup money somewhere, so they cut a deal with Sony to let it be on there and give them some cash.
That's horrible. But the biggest one, Battlefield that no one liked, 2040, whatever the fuck it is, that's the one. I remember it was like sales charts for like weeks in a row, and they're like, yeah, it's a failure because it didn't make $7 billion.
Monetarily, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was a failure.
There's another good one. Yeah, like...
And that was a nostalgia game out the asshole. Like, we're not making new games based on books because no one fucking reads anymore, so no one's gonna know what these books are unless you're a TikTok girly who's obsessed with romance novels, Sherry. Like, no one reads fucking books, okay? Yeah. So, like, why would they make games off books that no one cares about? What's the last one that came out that you can even think of that was based off of a book?
Stalker 2, but it's loosely based off of ideas of it. It's not a direct adaptation.
Stalker 2, we can talk about Witcher, right. But like Witcher already had a pre-established foothold in the gaming market, so that it was safe to create a new one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stalker is kind of like a cult game, and I think it was just time, and it was like, it took years and years to make this thing, so.
But even then, Stalker's like not it's just a traditionally, quote, successful game.
Right. Yeah,
based on what the market wants.
Cult hit for sure. It's tough, man. It sucks because I think from like video games as an art perspective, it's like the idea that you can create something super unique, like it's just kind of gone in general. Everything's got to check boxes as far as will it make money? That's all we care about. Everything else out the window. It sucks, man. But speaking to that, you missed a bunch of really cool shit. Like, think about Dante's Inferno, man. Like, that game's based off of a fucking poem. And, like, it's so visually unique. It's like, of all things to pick, this is what we're going to go with. Like, Descending in the Circles of Hell. You'll never get something like that nowadays. I
lied. The last thing that I can think of that was, quote-unquote, based off of a novel that was successful was Lies of P.
Yeah.
And that is so far beyond what the fucking novel was.
Right.
But the only reason people like that game is because it was a Souls clone. Mm-hmm. Tell me, if it wasn't a Souls clone, anybody would have played that game. No. They wouldn't have.
I think it does kind of go to that conversation, though. Like,
people want nostalgia. They want Souls games. They couldn't care what shitty coat, little costume that you put on anybody. If it's a Souls-like game, they're going to play it. It could be Souls-like Among Us, and they're going to be like, greatest game on this fucking planet.
Yep.
Souls-like Winnie the Pooh. What was the fucking Tigger game?
Oh, the Silent Hill Tigger.
The Silent Hill Tigger game. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
so ridiculous. It's a Piglet game, isn't it? I don't remember which one it is, but I I didn't go out.
I think it is a Piglet. Yeah. I don't know. I saw it for like $80, and I'm like, you guys are on crack.
Oh, it's gone down. Good. It's so crazy.
I don't know, God. Dude. Like we could slap open some Veggie Tales. Like Larry the Cucumber could be a Soulsborne game, and they would be all over that Larry shit. Boy. Yeah, Larry Boy. Like Larry Boy.
Larry Souls, bro.
Larry Souls. Let me solo her, and it's Larry Boy. Like that's what they couldn't give a shit what it's painted as. If it's a Souls game, they're in there. So like, Grain of Salt Liza P was successful and based off Pinocchio.
Yeah, that's true. But that's they're making.
Was it successful because it was based off Pinocchio? No, it was successful because it was a Souls-like.
And like you're saying, it's not a one-for-one adaptation. It's inspired by. It's got ideas from which, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but. It goes back to the Dante's Inferno thing. Like, yeah, great idea. I was going to say that it's an interesting parallel. Dante's Inferno, to bring it up again. Uh-huh. Think about what kind of game it was at that time. It was a God of War clone at that time. Yeah, and that was like all the hot shit. It is funny. You're onto something there for sure. Mm-hmm. Like, for to sit there and be like, oh, video games are art. This is like also the big example to be like, you know what? It just made to print money, brother.
But there's some things that are so disconnected from novels that it's like Dante's Inferno wasn't successful and popular and good because everyone was clamoring for Dante's Inferno to be turned into some kind of media.
Right.
So it's not like Lord of the Rings where any Lord of the Rings game that comes out, people are going to play it and want it.
Right.
Because it's based off Lord of the Rings. Like, look at Gollum. Like, people still out there played it and tried to defend that shit. They tried. Harry Potter's the same way, okay? Everyone who's going to defend Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy for being a PlayStation 2 wizarding school game is going to defend it because, like, Harry Potter.
Right.
But those are, like, giants. Mm-hmm. Those are titans in the industry for, like, novels.
Yeah, those have kind of surpassed the books almost, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think we talked about it a little bit. If you don't count the movie aspect of shit, does it even count? But, like... those you have to. There
is one, and I'm not surprised, and I am surprised that they never did any kind of Game of Thrones game outside of the Telltale. Because, like...
I played one. There's one they did. Atlas published it. It was based off of the character. It wasn't characters from the show, but it was in the show's universe. I'm surprised they haven't done it.
That's what I mean. Like, they've never done any kind of Song of Fire and Ice, whatever, adaptation video game. Considering that is so extremely popular, I feel like somebody would have fed that and said, let's get in there.
Or the show left a taste in people's mouth after that last season. That's the perfect way to kind of like, hey, it's still popular enough. Because even the last convention I went to, there was just one of those giant...
What's so crazy about it? It's the House Targaryen show out right now or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's still relevant.
Right.
But like a book series that popular... on that level, I'm surprised that we haven't moved over into like an actual inspired by, not just like we're going to show you the entire Telltale point A to point B kind of thing.
Right.
Especially in competition of people liking things like Witcher, where it's like you have an American Swords and Boards brand new series that we could jump off of into a game that is already inherently popular, and you don't have to worry about if people are going to want that or not.
And by the way, that last book's probably never going to come out, so do whatever the fuck you want to the story. Like, it's a blank canvas, honestly, with a pre-existing world. You don't have to worry about introducing people to lore and shit. Like, they already know it. Fans are going to come and play that.
They already know who Jon Snow is, and they already know who Ned Stark is. Like,
right.
You know.
That is a good point.
So I'm surprised that no one's touched that one.
That's a really good point, man.
But I'm also, like, not super present in the book space, so I don't really know, like, what series are big right now, other than the ones that I see people trash talking. So I'm not gonna bring those up as, like, actually relevant.
Yeah, admittedly, I used to read a lot in my, like, mid-20s, early 20s. I used to read maybe a book a week.
And I feel like that's a very 2000s thing, right? Because I feel like maybe in that era is kind of maybe when you were reading.
Yeah.
But it was also very popular to have things spring from young adult novels, and that's where we got stuff like Twilight and Ender's Game.
Makes sense.
What was the one? The Labyrinth. It was a movie trilogy.
Maze Runner. Artemis Fowl. There's a ton, yeah.
You know, like that was kind of all in that era, but they were all young adult novels, and that's kind of Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everything like that. Those are all based on novels, and that kind of bubble shifted. I don't think people care about young adult stuff anymore.
It's all smut now, bro.
It really is.
Not even trying to be funny.
It shouldn't
like,
be.
It really is. Everybody at work, I'm like, I know this book because I see people reading it at home. Like,
yeah, I see people reading it at home.
So it's funny though, because they'll be like, yeah, I know what this book is because I listen to my partner talk about it or whatever, and she's like, do you read this? I'm like, no, I don't read this. I have a Sherry at home that reads this.
There's just like, I don't know, books that are coming out currently aren't really in like that taste of what would be a super popular, like on a global scale, popular enough to do.
100% true.
But even then, we're not taking things that are popular from so long ago and being like, maybe we've never had a really cool, interesting horror adaptation of The Christmas Carol. I don't know.
Mix and match. I mean, that's the thing. That's how you create.
Lemony Snicket?
Yeah.
You know how weird that shit could be?
Yeah, dude. There is a bunch of games that borrow ideas. I mean, we talked about Stalker a little bit. Great example. It steals ideas from a book that they turn into a movie. They combine it to, and they make it. It's kind of an inspired thing. Like you're saying, there's tons of ideas and examples they could use, but like, I'm not the creative type. It's also not my job to make fucking games. Go for it, man. Like, I feel like Hollywood, and it's more movies than games, they've drained the well as far as creativity. I feel like we are getting there with games. Like full.
It's been there.
Yeah.
The well's been drained. We've been there to where everything's coming out is just hollow and soulless.
And then honestly, this is a different conversation, but AI and shit's going to make it 100% worse.
Right.
It's just literally pulling from a pool of pre-existed ideas.
Right.
Like,
it's like there's some things where you can take, like, I think it's really interesting to take, if we're not going to go fully new IP, brand new story, brand new everything, like something like Naughty Dog's doing, right? They're doing a whole brand new space IP.
Right.
New everything. It's not going to be in any universe inspired by. We can take from things and create. What we need are people who read fan fiction before, and that's been decent fan fiction, right? That's kind of what we're turning into.
yeah.
If you want to make something in the universe, make a self-contained bubble that has the themes and the stuff and your own original spin, and have that theme and universe surrounding your game, and be like, okay, this is something that would be happening somewhere inside of this universe.
Yeah.
We don't need a one-for-one book rendition. And that's how some of these popular games end up happening, is we were like, oh shit, this game was inspired by XYZ. Like, we were looking up the list and Suikoden's on there, and I was like, why is Suikoden on inspired by novels? And it was inspired by a novel from the Ming Dynasty in the 14th century.
By the way, the Earth's really old, so there's plenty of fucking history you can take this from. Like, there's
It was inspired. It was inspired by a novel of 108 rebels standing up on a mountain fighting off the government, and like that's what the game is loosely based off of. But you have to run around and you have to recruit 108 stars,
right?
People to join your army to like overthrow the government. So it's not like you need to follow it one by one by one.
Right.
But that game is really popular. You know, we got 5 games out of that series and some spin-offs, tactics.
Yeah.
I think a fighting game or whatever on the DS. We've got the remaster now, and then Yuden Chronicles, is that what it's called? The spiritual successor, the guy who made...
Oh, yeah.
So we got that, but it's like, you wouldn't have been like, oh, that's based off of XYZ.
Right. It's just inspired by it. And
right.
So much, dude.
You know, Journey of the West is a good example.
Bring that up.
Yeah, that has a lot of games that take inspiration from that, but don't like follow it to a T.
So like obviously Dragon Ball, we all know that one. But the one that sticks out to me is, and I'm an advocate for this game, Enslaved Journeys to the West.
I mean, that's pretty on the nose.
It is, but there's like the setting, so like sci-fi, utopia, like after the nukes go off, like it's Andy Serkis and shit. So like they tried, man.
Yeah.
But like colossal failure in terms of selling. But now that people have actually fucking played it, they're like, oh my god, this game's a masterpiece.
But then let me roll you back to another example of Journey of the West that got insanely popular. Not because it was Journey of the West, but because it was a Souls-like game.
Black Myth.
Black Myth Wukong,
Yep.
okay? I'm not going to sit here and defend that game. I won't. I refuse to. I'm not going to defend that studio either, because they're dog shit.
They had some fucking
but like
issues,
that
bro.
was inspired by Journey to the West, which I think is great. Monkey King.
Right.
And it kind of became its own thing, but after that, it turned into something ugly, in my opinion. So, you've got...
Morally, but it's a different conversation.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I won't buy it. Like, fuck it. Like,
after what they did at the Game Awards, I'm just like, you guys aren't making this game to make games.
No, you're trying to... Yeah, whatever.
That's a whole different thing. But that's a good example of another one where it's like that game was not popular because it was a Journey to the West game.
Correct.
That was because it was a Souls-like game that streamers streamed and said you need to play this. And some other reasons, but I won't say why. And another good example of something that can be inspired by, but also be original and doesn't have to be like right there is Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
And Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you telling me Lu Bu was able to slay hundreds and thousands of people all by himself? Like, that is such a mythological thing.
Right.
But it's really cool to be like, oh, that's fucking Lu Bu, and he's on his giant-ass horse with his helmet with the little antenna-looking things that come up with his glaive spear. And it's such a mythological character at that point that you can make him
OP.
God on Earth,
yeah.
and it's still like, we know what that's inspired by.
But that's the beauty of video games. You can do shit like that.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you can do it in books too, but like, goddamn, the power fantasies and shit you can do.
Swinging that thing around and mowing down about 400 people on one swipe every time.
That's the thing, man. And the different genres, because like you're saying, Romance of the Three Kingdoms, it's completely different. It's a tactical game. It's not even anything like that. There's just so many variety you can do, and it is weird to me, other than the money, which I think that my whole premise of this was like, oh, what's the reason not? Maybe we can dig it. No, you got it pretty
money.
early. It's money, bro.
It's money.
I mean, even like, if you think about the most successful games based off of books, it's like comic book stuff. It's like tabletop stuff.
Yeah.
Technically books, if you want to get technical. But like, it's not novels. It's not literature.
No, we're not inspiring, especially with games. We're not inspiring off of literature anymore. We're inspiring off of other games.
Yep.
Everything is like, oh, I was inspired by Breath of the Wild. Oh, I was inspired by God of War. Oh, we pulled inspiration from XYZ, and that's what inspired this game. We can see it, right? If you get inspiration from a previous game and it puts it into your new ones, like, that's very cool that a game had such an original idea that you were like, I like those elements and I want to put them in my game. But there's still the whole part of writing. The entire section of writing isn't going to be like, I was inspired by God of War. Were you inspired by God of War in your writing?
Right.
Or did you, can you just say I was inspired by Norse mythology?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
Here's something crazy. Do you know that shit existed before Sony made God of War?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Are you telling me that Sony didn't invent Thor?
Yeah. It is funny though, like, as far as religious games and stuff, if we're going to talk about mythology, there's been a couple. There's a lot of Bible ones, obviously. I think it's the lowest hanging fruit. You have like all the wisdom tree stuff on NES, all that. But one that is really interesting to me is El Shaddai Ascension. It's based on the Book of Enoch. It's not in the Bible, it's just a religious text. But it's very loosely based, obviously. But if you've ever read it, like, full disclosure, like, my family, I grew up extremely religious. I'm not now, but that's neither here nor there. So I have read a lot of these books that aren't in the Bible. Book's kind of wild, bro. Like, there's look, without stepping on toes and offending people, there's a reason why it's not in the Bible, because like, it's kind of crazy. But to find out that this game was based on that, I was like,
bro, they couldn't handle it. They said,
yeah. To find out that this game was based off that, I was like, I had no fucking idea. It's pretty cool. So, interesting.
Yeah, religious texts are a big one.
How about Darksiders?
Yeah.
Book of Revelation? Like, again, super creative. It's like, yeah, you have the concept of Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and then you turn it into like an action-based game, and you get Jumbo Dara to draw them. Like come on, man.
And especially like religious texts can be taken as fiction.
Yeah.
And being like, I like the idea of this thing. Let me pull it even more into fiction and make a whole thing of it. Yeah. Like, Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse is one of the most crazy sounding things I've ever heard. Yeah. Like you're talking, these four dudes are gonna da-da-da-da-da from the sky. Like, it makes me think of the Wild Hunt. Yeah. From Witcher. Like, the apocalypse comes when Wild Hunt sweeps through and like kills everybody, and it's all a bunch of skeleton dudes on horsemen. Like, it's cool, but you're like, okay, Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, we're gonna make 4 horsemen and have a whole game be around one of them. It's awesome. We never got the 4th one, did we?
No, we
did.
We got Genesis. It was like the team up one, but we never got a standalone 4th character.
That's right. We got War, and then War was the first one. Darksiders 2 was
Pestilence, right?
Oh, what are the Four Horsemen?
I'm educated, damn it. Hang on.
It's been a while.
It has been.
It's like plague or pestilence or something like that.
I think it's pestilence.
What are the Four Horsemen?
Googling. Conquest, war, famine, and death.
Death was the second one. And then I want to say famine was 3.
The lady.
Yeah. And then Genesis had the 4th one. But it wasn't like a
team up. Yeah.
Because it took me a while to find Genesis.
Fury, the third horseman of the apocalypse. Yeah, Fury. They changed the names and shit, but
again,
it's loosely inspired. That's
right,
fine.
And like the Four Horsemen is also interesting because that is in a lot of mythology too. It's like one of those things where you've got Zeus in 5 different religions and mythologies and all different ways of like saying this is who that god is, right? So the Four Horsemen being touched on in multiple things. Of course, there are going to be different translations for different dialects and different regions and everything like that. But taking just like that simple idea and then making a whole game series on it, that was good too. Yeah. It was a good series. Clearly
successful. Look how many they made. As far as monetary, if that's what you all care about. But yeah, super creative. That's the thing. And you get people like Joe Mad to do the art. Like, there's ways you can do this, I feel like. Because the well is so goddamn dry, there's clearly ways you can still do this and make it work. You might just have to get creative. It's a crazy concept for the games industry nowadays.
It's like we can make new IPs that are fresh and they feel new and they're still pull inspiration from some kind of literature. It's not like you have to be like blank paper, blank slate. Everything has to come from my mind.
Right.
We don't have to do that. No. And sometimes people can do that and make something really fucking cool. Sure. Like Horizon, I feel like, I don't know if that was inspired by anything, but the entire idea of that being a completely new thing was very cool. Yeah. And if that was an inspiration by something else, let me know. But
the only thing with like robot mech dinosaurs, semi post-apocalyptic, it's new, it's cool.
So we can do inspiration from other things like Baldur's Gate, right? Baldur's Gate is set inside of the Sword Coast, inside of Baldur's Gate, but the characters are all like inside their own self-contained bubble. Like you've got references to things that are the overall themes and, the gods and the areas and the factions. Those are all in that universe, but the core element of the game and who we're following around is all unique.
Yeah.
So it's not like we have to do a 1-for-1. I think sometimes people are afraid to do a 1-for-1 because they're like, if we do a game inspired by Game of Thrones, then people are going to say it's not as good as the TV show. But it's like, you can make something set in the universe.
I think the more I think about it, sitting here and talking about it, taking ideas is the way to go. Like, look at BioShock. Like, you can't adapt Atlas Shrugged 1-for-1 at all, but you can take concepts from it. Even names, goddammit, like Atlas, goddamn. Think about it. It's in the fucking name. Like, take concepts and ideas and make it something unique. It's almost more creative in a way, but it goes back to like the idea of books and literatures interpreting it your own way. I never would have got fucking BioShock out of that shit. Yeah. If I would have sat here for the rest of my life, I never would have penned something as like cool as BioShock coming from that book. I would have been like, oh, well, this is depressing. And that's where it would have stopped.
Yeah, it's like we're at the point where like art imitates art, right? And that's okay.
Yeah. It's almost more artistic that way.
But it just sucks that like art imitates art and that's okay, but we're now at to the point where it's like art cannot imitate art if we can't make money from it. So let's just go ahead and art copy art. Like, sure, we're not talking about like, oh, you have to make a clone.
Yeah.
Like to be considered the same thing. I don't want to talk about clones here, but now we are cloning by just remastering and just getting the money out of it.
You're right. Yeah. That's unfortunate.
Like, we're taking the safe route. Like, sure, it's a little cheaper, maybe, sometimes, to completely, and it probably wasn't for Knights of the Old Republic at this point, because it was just such spaghetti code that we had to remaster that. But what happens to the Old Republic Star Wars game that we got told we were going to get? High Republic?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah. High Republic? It could have been a whole new thing.
Everything with that?
A whole new thing, but instead, Aspire puts out this dog shit Switch version of Knights of the Old Republic that can't even work. It still doesn't work.
And you know what? What's more nostalgic than that? Battlefront? Hey, let's do a dog shit version of that, too.
And then we got Jedi Power Battles. Who the fuck played Jedi Power Battles except for me?
It's people like me, but still, they're just...
Who we're catering to.
It's people that grew up with Episode 1, and now it's like,
I mean, to be fair, the entire Star Wars franchise is so fucking uninspired and unoriginal at this point that just they can let Star Wars die too. And that's coming from a lifelong Star Wars fan. Like, just let it die.
So, really quick, I wanted to touch on too. Since you're more familiar with it, I kind of want you to talk about it because I've only played Witcher 2. I know there is a little bit of like discourse with like the author and all that, him not vibing with the games, but I think it was more of a money thing, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It was.
It's not more of an art thing, it's more of a money thing.
If I remember this correctly, and I could be wrong, but from how I understood it is they went to him and said, we want to make a licensing deal, we want to make your game into a book. And he was like, your shit's not going to be successful, because he believed that his books were the end-all be-all for the story. Any interpretation or alteration or version of his story was going to fail because it wasn't the original. That's how I understood how this process went. So he was just like, you guys are going to fail, so I'll take as much money as I think I'm ever even going to get out of it. And he took such a small, flat sum. Like, super flat. And I don't know as far as now if they give him any royalties past that point. But
back to court.
But when The Witcher 1 came out, of course, right? As soon as it gets successful, all of a sudden he wants money. And then now he's making deals and being on... I'm not a big fan of this author, to be honest. People can say he's nice, but he's not. But he's like, oh, he's making deals and doing photo ops with the Netflix people. But look at that shit. Dog shit is what that was.
Yeah, they appreciate your art for sure, pal.
Yeah, he... and that's what I mean. Like, here. Okay... my whole thing with this is he was like, any alteration of mine is not going to be as good. It's not going to be, you're not going to make any money off of it. So the point of the games being so good that they made money, he wanted in. But the Netflix show, as long as he was getting money, he couldn't give a shit what happened to that story.
Yeah, it shows.
And even Henry Cavill was like, dude didn't even write the books, but Henry Cavill was like, this is so far away from the books that I don't want to even be a part of it. And the author was just like, what's my next check, brother?
But no, it is interesting. I think probably if we're talking about like most successful actual books turned into franchises, like Witcher's got to be one or two, maybe, you know.
I mean, outside of...
Yeah,
I don't...
There's one thing I can think of that maybe surpasses it just because of the amount of games they've made.
I don't want to count Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I think the movie propelled that, right? Because if you talk about just the games based off of the books, there are a couple. Like the Super Nintendo one, it's dog shit. Like, it's bad. And then there's a really funny story about when the movies were coming out. So Vivendi Universal had the licensing agreement to do games based off of the books.
Right.
And then EA had the license to do games based off the movies. So they made a game, Fellowship of the Ring, and EA, it went to court because EA is like, we have the rights for this. We want to release it. They used to actually release the movie games when the movies came out back then. Foreign concept now. But they had to wait a whole year until Two Towers was out. So Two Towers actually came out before the movie. And then Universal's like, well, we also want to do The Hobbit since we don't want to be behind the eight ball and you guys already released Two Towers. So they made a Hobbit game, but they're not great. Like, you definitely don't want to use those as an example. But for me, what I was thinking, kind of the flip side of I don't know the gentleman's, I can't pronounce this shit. The guy that made The Witcher. Sir.
I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Look, I'm Eastern European, but
like
I ain't
Andrew
that Eastern
Sapkowski or something like that.
I ain't that Eastern European, you know what I'm saying?
I can't do Polish names, I'm
Same,
sorry.
Dude, and I've got Polish blood. It's all right. Tom Clancy is the one I was going to bring up. Because he's kind of the opposite of that. Like, author, pretty successful author. A lot of his stuff, they turned into movies. But then they're like, hey, Tom, give us a general idea. We'll make a game around it. And if you want to write a book about it later and kind of expand upon that universe, like, by all means, go ahead. So it's kind of like a cool marriage of like flip side of both. Because like the most successful game series is probably Rainbow Six, right? They've made a ton of them. Like Tom Clancy's pitched the idea of like, hey, it's countering terrorism, but it's like global. It's kind of like the UN of counterterrorism. And that's basically the premise of the game, right? But look how big it is now. There's so many different Rainbow Six games. I remember like buying the compilation for computers when I was a kid. And I was like, how many fucking games are in the series? And then the console ones are completely different. There's like spin-offs of spin-offs. There's
we're not even talking about Rainbow Six, right? If you just take Rainbow Six out and then look at like any of the Tom Clancy's games.
Just off the top of my head, you've got Division, you've got Hawks, you've got End War, you've got Ghost Recon. I know there's more. Like, I know there's more.
Splinter Cell's not Tom Clancy.
Yeah, that's
Splinter Cell's Tom Clancy?
Yep. Did I say Ghost Recon? I don't remember.
Yeah.
There's so many, though. And it's like,
But then it's like, how many Splinter Cell games are there? How many Ghost Recon games are there?
He's got to be the most successful of like, yeah, I'm an author. And you know what? There are Splinter Cell books. I actually saw some. I was like, I didn't know there were Splinter Cell books.
Well, what Tom Clancy...
after the game.
Tom Clancy was smart. He did what Lucas is trying to do with Star Wars now. But he's already established a long time ago. He's like, you just got to put my name on it.
Yep.
And you guys can do whatever the fuck you want inside of that universe. Like, it's
here's the idea.
It's modern day secret operative military shit. Like, that's all Tom Clancy is. It's not anything that needs to be, like, inside of the lore of Tom Clancy.
The world exists. There's bad guys. There's good guys.
So he did the smart thing of being like, okay, put my name on it, and then it'll be a whole series, and it's going to be Tom Clancy's whatever. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. And anybody can make a Tom Clancy game. Yeah. I'm assuming that they might have to pitch something.
Ubisoft has the rights now.
To everything Tom Clancy?
Everything Tom Clancy. But they just make a game and they're like, Tom Clancy's blank, and they slap, his name on there, and it's got the brand recognition.
Okay,
This is old Ubisoft also, by the way.
I take back what I said. Tom Clancy was dumb in doing that. Okay? He was smart of letting anybody make the games, and now dumb just letting Ubisoft.
But he's got it where he can, like, literally publish his own shit based off of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he sells them an idea. I don't think they can just slap his name on there. He's got to pitch the idea. I'm
sure there's something in there where he's got to okay it if it's got his name on there.
There's a reason why new ones aren't coming out. I'll say it like that. But
they're probably terrible. Look at Ubisoft's writing.
But there's only 3 that were based off of actual books of his. So you have SSN, Cardinal of the Kremlin, and The Hunt for October. But kind of makes me think, it's probably based. I think it's based off the movie. It's got Sean Connery on the cartridge. Now I think about it. Yeah, so that one doesn't count.
Success off of
there probably is like an old PC version before the movie came out.
Right.
But I mean, honestly, like, Tom Clancy found the loophole, bro. Like, he's the opposite of the Witcher guy. He's like, I get to make my own books, make all the money off of the name that you guys made. Mm-hmm. It's like Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, all that shit. Like, Ubisoft made those names. He came up with the concept. And, dude, I took a video. There's hundreds of Tom Clancy books based off of games that you've heard of. Mm-hmm. Like, what a genius, bro. Like, that's the play. And he gets to do what he loves. He gets to write still. Like, smart man. Like, I grew up playing the shit out of those games too, so it's a fun one for me. I think those are probably the most 2 successful examples, but kind of also on opposite ends of the spectrum. But other than that, I can't really think of anyone's more successful. Like, personal favorites of mine, obviously Stalker. We didn't even bring up the Metro series. I think it's a really great series. Anytime there's like post-apocalyptic Russia with nukes and shit, I'm all in, I guess. I love Stalker and Metro, but they're based off of books. It's basically after World War III happens. It's like that, 20 years after World War III. So like civilization is just fucked, destroyed. Basically everybody lives in the Metro system because it's vast. It didn't get dilapidated, but there's like radioactive creatures running around. Humanity's at its like all-time worst. Mm-hmm. Like bullets are currency is how bad it is. And you've got clean bullets and you've got like shit bullets that are fucking, they might work, we don't know. It's a really fun game. I've been trying to find the books like in person. I don't like buying online unless I have to, but I would like to read those because I think the concept's really interesting. It's really cool. Yeah. Other than that, I guess I'd like to finish the Witcher books. Not a great read, honestly. The translations, I think the biggest issues from what I read online. Even reading it, I'm like, this kind of, because I know the general core of The Witcher. Like, I know the concept, the short stories and shit. I know it's not in order. That doesn't bother me. Like, I can use my brain. But, like, reading it, I'm just like, huh? Like, some of these translations are rough, bro.
I mean, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, because Sherry read them all. Because I think there's different versions. There's, like, 3 or 4 different prints of the book out. And the earlier ones, the translations are fucking bad, dude. Like, real bad. But, yeah. So maybe I'll go back and read those. I do want to read the Metro books. Is there any that, are you much of a reader at all? Or did you ever used to read?
I've been audiobooks a little bit more, but it's just one of those things where I just don't have time.
Yeah.
With all the other shit that I want to do.
I don't know how I used to do it when I was younger, bro. Yeah. I used to literally read a book a week, watch a movie every fucking day, and play games somehow.
I think some other honorable mentions for games by novels or inspired by Discworld.
Yeah.
Directly from Terry Pratchett. And I think that Terry Pratchett has gotten some more popularity recently with
Good Omens.
Good Omens, thank you. Okay. Terry Pratchett's gotten some more popularity recently with people wanting to revisit his books because of Good Omens. Mm-hmm. and then Good Omens also shot that in the foot. Well, Good Omens didn't shoot it in the foot. Neil Gaiman shot himself in the foot. So kind of like anything that's Neil Gaiman is tainted now. So I've seen people being like, okay, where do I start with Discworld? Because it's a whole huge thing. But the Discworld game that originally came out was based off of Guards. So I've seen people say that's a decent one to start with. And seemingly it's one of the most popular ones. But the whole Discworld universe, that's one. Parasite Eve is another one.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Parasite Eve, but I just know that it was a prequel.
Yeah, so the game I think is a direct sequel to the book.
Okay.
But it didn't get the author's blessing and shit. They bought the rights to make a game.
I gotcha.
I think he was kind of under the impression they were going to do a 1-for-1. And they were kind of like, well, we don't want to disturb. It's Japanese, you know what I mean? So it's a different culture over there as far as like, you know, respecting and doing their own thing. They wanted to make their own art basically, which respectable. He sold the rights, so like I get it. But yeah, I didn't know that was based off a book. And Shin Meg also, apparently it was like released as like written media first, the concept. Yeah. There was like 3 books that were, books is a loose term. They were more of like magazines. But the idea of like, you know, the demons and all that shit. So obviously the game surpassed that. Like I don't see people being like, oh, we need to reprint the Shin Meg books.
Right.
But there's a bunch I didn't know about, man. Like I don't want to just go through a list, but those were ones that stood out for me. I remember Shadow Complex on the 360. Like it was one of the early like download games. It's based on
Assassin's Creed
called Empire. Yeah, that's another one too. I had no idea. I think that one's more a little bit concepts. The book was Alamat. Even like they take verbatim, nothing is true, everything's permitted. It's literally a line straight from that book. So again, I think it was more concepts and shit, but
I mean that's something that definitely like took some heavy inspiration and went with their whole thing. Because like, was that book about like? I don't know anything about what that book was about.
I tried reading a synopsis and I was like, huh?
So,
I didn't see anything about Namnus.
Yeah, was that about like revisiting the memories of an ancestor or something?
It's about shit in that time period, I know that.
Just the time period?
Yeah.
Okay.
The maximum of the novel is nothing is absolutely reality, all is permitted. So they changed it slightly, I guess, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, they took concepts.
So it seems like they took concepts from that book as far as like what the Assassin's Creed Order was. But I think the overall story of how we got there and to explore what was going on was a very Ubisoft thing. So that I think is very interesting in how inspirationals can be done successfully. I don't think 1-for-1s are the way to go.
This book's got a lot of inspirations, bro. It said the novel helped inspire the Asamet clan of Vampire the Masquerade tabletop game as well. Huh.
Oh, the tabletop game?
Yeah. But yeah, again, just going on our original idea of, hey, maybe y'all should look at some of these ideas from books. My closing argument, thoughts, whatever, there's a whole well here I feel like has not been tapped nearly to the degree. Because even if like we did the stupid, boring list thing, let me count really quick. You got about 20 games. Either pulled from books, literature.
Oh. Like, I mean, 20 games in the grand scope of the industry is nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's an untapped well here. Unfortunately,
but it's like how many books come out versus how many games come out.
Yeah.
Per year.
Probably
There's a lot more authors and a lot more game developers.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, I don't see an issue with like merging the two, and I think it should be done more often, because y'all, look, you guys in the writing industry and games, stale.
Yeah.
Movies, stale.
Stale as fuck.
So I think maybe we should go back to some writers and be like, hey y'all, we need some help. Well,
then you wonder why they're striking and shit. Not getting paid if I have good ideas. This is what we end up with. I hate to say it like that.
Capitalism.
Yep. Yeah, listeners, if you guys have any favorite games based off of books, novels, what have you, let us know in the comments. We are at Collecti-Bros Pod on all social media. Chat us up in Discord. Let us know if you have any favorites. Maybe if you have any books you think would make a great video game. I'd love to know. I don't read enough anymore, so other than listening to Sherry tell me about her books, which I don't think would make great video games unless you're making like dating sims or something. But yeah, guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help us out. I hate to say that every time, but like it actually does legitimately help us out.
Bryan, what's next?
What is next? Next is a game I recently picked up about a year ago, and you all knew it was coming.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, this probably, I will say this, after this one, my top 3 heavy hitters we've done an episode on, so we're out of the big mega top 3. It is Castlevania Dracula X for the Super Nintendo.
Woo-wee.
Very expensive game.
Woo-wee.
Is it worth your time? Is it worth the money? We'll let
Woo-wee.
you know in about 2 weeks' time from this recording. Thanks for listening, guys. Catch y'all around. Batman Beyond, we need an outro, but that's going to be incorporated somehow. We take ideas much like some of these successful video games from books.
But I'll tell you, it's not going to be as good as mine, so I'll only take $5. Wait, no, I'll only give you $5 or something. I don't know.
Something. Later, y'all.
I like books.